Man, I am not even gonna lie to you. My mortgage has my mental state fudged up right now. And guess how much after 2.5 years, we've gotten off of our actual principal payment? 2.5 years. Mind you, the past year and a half, we've been paying extra on our mortgage. Guess how much?
My mortgage went up $1,000 and I am not okay.
That lady just said her mortgage went from $3,400 to $5,300 a month. Yeah, go and wrap this up. Go and wrap this right on up. I just earned myself a ticket on the next flight out over there to that farm with Wheelbarrow and Charlotte's Web. They better move on over.
Hi, so we're going to see the mortgage scam that is going on in the US. Sit comfortably and enjoy the show.
Man, I am not even gonna lie to you. My mortgage has my mental state fudged up right now. I purchased my house with my fiance, girlfriend at the time, in June of 2023? No, 2022. I just got this handy dandy letter in the mail from my new mortgage company, Celine Finance. I hate you, by the way. And guess how much after 2.5 years, we've gotten off of our actual principal payment? 2.5 years. Mind you, the past year and a half, we've been paying extra on our mortgage. Guess how much? Guess how much is paper towels? $8,000. I got a mortgage for $227. These papers right here, these papers that's stuck to the wall right now, they say we've only paid $8,000 off in 2.5 years. My mortgage payment is $1,800. In 2.5 years, we've paid off $8,000.
So from what I understand in this video, the couple was paying for the interest instead of the principal. Because when you pay your mortgage, you have the principal, which means the loan itself, and you have the interest. So when you don't speak to your lender or you don't know the paperwork, you might be paying a lot of money, but you only reduce the interest instead of the principal. That's why it would be a smart idea to just focus on paying the principal, because when you pay the principal, the interest itself, it will reduce. If you want to pay the interest itself, it will take you way longer than if you pay directly the principal, then pay the interest. So let's head into the comments. The first one says, when you pay extra, you need to tell them you want to pay it towards the principal. Otherwise, they apply it to your interest. Like I was saying, when you pay the interest, the principal itself, it won't budge. Then another comment said, that's just about right. Also, when you pay extra, do you tell them to apply it directly to your principal balance? Ask for an amortization. It shows how much goes to the principal and interest for the life of the loan. So yeah, you got to know how much you're paying for the interest, how much you're paying for the principal, and you got to prioritize the principal. Then there is the third comment saying you'll pay interest for 21 years before you start seeing the principal reduction. If you pay it automatically, it will only go to the interest. So you got to make sure that you take the voluntary decision of paying the principal first, because that's how they make money.
My mortgage went up $1,000 and I am not okay. So let me tell you guys, for the longest time, people be screaming from the hilltop, home ownership is not it. Don't rush. And I will just be like, I don't understand it because I'm literally chilling, cheaper than rent. I was bamboozled. So let me tell y'all what they do not tell y'all about real estate. So they do an analysis every year from, at least with the mortgage that I got, right? And so they did an analysis and basically my mortgage increased by $1,000. And I asked them why. And they were like, something about my house is a new build. And so I guess they charged me for the taxes when it was just the land for 2 years. Then after year 2, they add the taxes with the house actually on it. And they were like, yeah, your builder is supposed to tell you. They didn't. They didn't. And so I asked them, can I sell the house? And they were like, there's no equity in it. You guys see me smiling, but come next month, I'm literally going to be in tears because $1,000 extra a month, I legit want to move back home and live with my parents. But I don't have that option. I'm sick. Like, I'm sick. Honestly, don't buy a house if you're single. Like, buy a house when there's two incomes coming in because, baby, you gonna need it.
So that's the problem. I don't know if you should blame the builders or the realtors, but all of them are trying to hide the extra fees you're gonna pay once you get taxed on the property. Because when she was building, she was getting taxed on the land itself, not the property. But on year two, she was taxed on the property, and it is way more expensive. But though, when they tell you your mortgage, they will tell you your mortgage plus the tax on the land, and a year after, you will have that extra thousand that is the tax on the property. So I think it should be mandatory. The law should force realtors or builders or whoever to disclose these types of information before they sign a loan. Because when they sign a mortgage that says 2,500, they think that they're going to pay 2,500 for the rest of their life, or maybe it's going to increase around 200, 300. But the next year, when you add on the top of the 2,500 an extra 1K, that's scamming. Let's be real. That's the only way to call it. And they do it on purpose. They hide that information so they can sell you the house. And then once you start struggling with your finances, you won't be able to sue them. So in the comments, someone said it's a lot of unspoken cost to home ownership. Yeah, that's why I think it should be mandatory for the realtors or builders to disclose this type of information before you sign in. And there is another one saying you can buy a house when you're single, stay within your budget, increase your income, sometimes get a side easy job. At this point, it depends on why you want to buy the house. If you want to buy the house for investment, I'd suggest you to invest in an index fund for many reasons. Index fund is more safe. It's safer right now from what I see. Also, if you need cash for any type of emergency, it will be easier to withdraw. For example, if you need cash and you have a house, you'll have to sell that house before getting that emergency. Let's say you have healthcare bills you need to pay. Imagine the amount of time it's going to take you before being able to sell that house, take that money, then pay it back. That's why I think investing in the stock market is easier, safer, while your money is still accessible for any types of emergency. There is another comment that just said, rent ain't it, mortgage ain't it, everything is going up. I don't even know what we're supposed to do. Me, I think most people, if you are single, you don't need a house. You don't really need a house. Compared to the hustle and the struggle you're gonna get through, most people right now who are single and buy a house, it's more for the flex, the status symbol, instead of the house itself. Because it's not like you're gonna sleep in all the rooms at the same time. You're only one person. I think one apartment is enough, especially if you can't afford it. Now, if you can afford a house, go ahead, buy it. Well, good for you. But if you can't, and you have to downgrade your whole lifestyle, and you have to always be stressed when your mortgage is being renewed, I don't think it's worth the hassle.
That lady just said her mortgage went from $3,400 to $5,300 a month. Yeah, go and wrap this up. Go and wrap this right on up. I just earned myself a ticket on the next flight out over there to that farm with wheelbarrow and Charlotte's Web. They better move on over.
The mortgage increase are going wild, and no one is talking about it. And the problem is the people you see in this video, most of them, they bought the houses around 2022, 2023, when the interests were low. But now the interests are biting them back. So you have in the comments, someone said, my mortgage went up $160 and I was about to call the president. Now, this person is pretty lucky because you'll see some wild stories after that. Another one said, we have sold that house in 3 business days. The problem is selling that house might come with a loss. That's why most people, even though they don't agree with the mortgage, they're stuck with the house, because if they said they're going to lose way more money and it's going to take them also a lot of time to pay that money back. There is another one that says, the US is such a scam. I have a home here in the Caribbean that's paid off and that's it. I don't owe the government anything. Hurricane takes it away. It's still my land, so I can build another house. Yeah, at this point, US sounds like a dystopia, and I'm gonna make a video about that. But it's like you don't own anything, whether it's your car, whether it's your house. Everyone is being priced out of everything. Everything is turning into a subscription. So you rent more than you owe. For example, your car, they increase the prices so high that nowadays most people they can't buy their cars in cash, so they have to pay the whole car with a monthly payment, and on the top of that you have the interest coming. And you have this creator said, my house payment just went up another $300. I don't even want it anymore. Yeah, it started becoming a nightmare at this point, because when the house payment takes so much space in your finances, in your budget, that you have to sacrifice so many things. I think as a parent, it's more responsible to take that money, invest it in, I don't know, bonds, stocks, anywhere but a house. And once that money start having that compound interest, you can use that money to pay for your kids' student loan. Because buying a house in our parents' generation, it used to be a smart investment. Houses were affordable, the taxes were low, the salaries were all right, the cost of living was low also, and it used to work. People could buy a house, still buy 2 cars, go on vacation, and they will still be able to save money. But nowadays, if you try to follow that same pattern as your parents, you're gonna struggle, because the salaries are so low compared to the price of the houses, and on the top of that you have the cost of living increasing everywhere, whether it's your food, whether it's transport. So if we run in the comments real quick, there's one that just said, this is why you buy a home that is way below your means. My employees make fun of me and my little homes and used cars, but I never stress. I don't want to look rich, I want to be rich. It reminds me of a quote that says, it's better to have $1,000 into a $20 purse than having a purse that costs $1,000 and having only $20 in it. I've seen from where I come from, I've seen people who used to buy the latest iPhone. For example, they used to have the iPhone 17, but they wouldn't be able to afford the phone bill. So they just have the iPhone just to flex. But if you ask them, yo, can I do a phone call? They'll be like, no, I can't afford my phone bill. Yep, there's another comment that just said, my taxes, mortgage rate, insurance on house and cars is getting ridiculous. Yes, everything is increasing. And the mortgages, they beat everything. You know, they sometimes double. You'll see some videos, they will show you mortgages doubling it. It's just something else. But there's a third comment that says, mine did too. Right after I got a 3% raise, there is no working for reward anymore. They want us in the ground. And that's true. And for that 3% raise, you have to fight your boss in order to get it, or you might get something way lower. But when the inflation goes 8 to 10% every single year and you get a 3% raise, it means that every single year you're getting poorer and poorer and poorer, and no one is talking about it.
Tell me how I signed a document with all the documents signed, your payment 1907, and you signed 1 million documents. Now a year later, they hit me up in February talking about your payment is $34.50. I bet it ain't. I bet it's not. So the first year when you buy your home, your newly constructed home, they're only charging you for the taxes, the property taxes on the land, the raw land. Well, the land was only worth $60,000. Well, now that the house has been put on it and now there's a development around you, that now that land this year is worth $110,000, and they put a 400 and something, almost $500,000 house on top. So now your taxes are going to go to correct. So now your mortgage is going to increase. Now, when they done tell you got a fixed rate, you got a fixed payment and all, they not explaining to you that the property taxes will increase that payment. My payment went up to $34.50. How? Because I can pack up the house and give it back to you. You can have it. Like, so so they send a little letter. I called, because with this letter, don't send no letter when you talking about my money. I called a lady. The lady basically telling me, yeah, somebody should have told you. They didn't tell me, ma'am. And that's another thing. Your realtors, some realtors, they gonna comment, I tell my clients that was your realtor's fault, that was your okay, but we not here for that. I'm here for the people that if y'all have experienced this, or if y'all about to experience this because it's y'all first house in y'all newly constructed home, the taxes is not right. Pay extra. Let me tell you how crazy it was, because when I signed the paperwork, they said your payment, like the lender was, my loan originator was like, your payment gonna be 2407, but when we got to the paperwork, it was 1907. So then I said, hey, it's supposed to be 24. You said nine. He said, no, don't even worry about it. That I always overbid. So when you get here, I can give you good news. And I'm over here giving him brownie points, sending him an edible and rain. You knew it was supposed to be 2400 because the taxes, you didn't say that. So now I'm paying 1907, happy as hell, paying 1907, and then the next year come in, and I gotta pay because the escrow didn't have no money. They done paid the taxes for me, sir. Lender, I didn't ask you to pay the tax. Don't pay the taxes on my behalf. You better call me and tell me my escrow was low. So they done paid the taxes. Now they talking about I owe them $34.50 a month for the next 3 years, or I can come out of my pocket 17, 18. We is struggling. The county, the city, the states, America is down.
So it's exactly like when cops arrest someone, they read the civic rights of that person before they arrest him. I think they should do the exact same thing for these mortgage loans. So in the comments, we have someone said property tax. We're never a homeowner. We're renting from the government. This is why most people, they're feeling more comfortable investing and buying a home abroad than in the US. And you have a second comment saying, I work in mortgage servicing. When I tell you it should be a requirement to take an escrow class before a consumer can purchase a house, especially when you have a cushion required minimum balance. Not everyone has the time to take a escrow class. I think that this information should be disclosed and it should be mandatory. And if it wasn't the case, and the buyer gets stuck into those extra fees, I think there should be a settlement that the buyer should be able to sue either the realtor, the builders, the escrow.
So nobody told me about the $10,000 I would spend after closing on my house. I just closed on my first house 3 weeks ago and I've already spent 10 grand, and that's not including closing costs or down payment. I'm talking blinds for all the windows, tools because I have to fix things now, and also the seller took our washer and dryer. Surprise, I didn't know that. And so we had to, well, it was their washer and dryer, I guess. So we had to get some. A plumber visit, a lawnmower, snow shovel, like literally just random stuff. I read a Reddit thread where they talked about how first-time homebuyers just forget extra costs, like closing costs, inspections, like immediate repairs, stuff like that. So I'm officially that person. Here's what I wish I would have done differently. I should have actually checked that I was getting the best mortgage offer. I tested this website called Fincast, and there was literally a lender on there offering $200 less than what we got our house for per month for the exact same loan. That's about $2,400 per year that I could have used somewhere else. So if you're buying soon, go ahead and just plan for the extra 10 grand. Also, while you're at it, shop your mortgage on Fincast. Sometimes the best savings aren't in the house, it's in your loan.
What I can say is her story sounds like an impulse buy. She bought the house without thinking. So she didn't do her homework. She didn't compare the price of the mortgages for that area, because once she bought the house, she found that she could have had a better deal. Also, the things that are basic when it comes to buying a house, like a broom, a shovel, a washer, a dryer, those things, you need to think about it in advance. So I'm pretty sure the way she's talking, she wasn't prepared. I think she saw the house, she fell in love, and she bought it right away. She was like, this is the house that I want. And that was her emotions talking. And that's what she did. She bought the house, then she realized, I need to add this, I need to add that. And she had an extra 10K, because I've seen worse people who just bought the house and had $0. They had to sleep on the floor until their next paycheck because they couldn't afford a bed. Okay, in the comments, someone said, Why would a washer and dryer be expected? That it would come with the house. Yeah, it's true. I mean, maybe it can, but you have to talk about it with the seller. The seller will show you the house that where he's living, so he's going to leave his washer, dryer, and everything. But you should ask, and you should try also to negotiate. What can you get from it? Like, he can give you the washer and take the dryer, or vice versa, or you try to negotiate the mortgage depending on that. And someone else said, this isn't common knowledge. Like, how did you not plan on this? Yep, it's just impulse buy. When you buy without thinking, this is how it ends up.
Gather in, everybody. We are going to be talking about my finances, specifically how much we paid towards our mortgage in the last year. It's now been 2 years since we bought our house, and let's just crunch the numbers. You can see I'm smiling, but just know it's fake. The smile is fake. We're gonna get straight into it. Last year, we paid $53,912.72. Of that, interest was $44,871.30, which means we only paid $9,041.42 towards our principal. Yes, 9,000. We only paid 9,000 of the 53,000. So that concludes year 2 of our mortgage repayments. A quick recap of last year. In our first year, we only paid $7,345 towards the principal. So altogether, within those 2 years, where we have collectively paid $104,000, we only paid $16,000 towards the principal. I love that for us. That is our numbers. I'm gonna keep doing this until year 30. So bring on 28 more years.
If I were to buy a house, I'd invest so much money when it comes to lawyer or specialist to show me these types of hidden information. Because how come can you pay 50K and the principal is only 9K, while the 44K is going into the interest? That's why you have to be voluntarily paying the principal instead of the interest, because the way things are made, they're rigged. So if you don't understand how it works, you'll get scammed, and you'll have to pay until after your death. And the problem is, before you realize it, they're gonna make so much money off of you. For example, someone in the comments said, how much do you have left to pay? The girl said, boy, too much, 660K. Imagine, she already paid around 53K, and right now she still owes 660K. Some amounts of money, when I tell them, I shiver, because it's out of my tax bracket. And imagine all the money she was paying, all the sacrifice she was making only to pay on interest, only for the interest. Now she has 660K to go. And some realtors, they're doing their own propaganda. Let me show you this video. It says, your landlord just raised the rent again. Meanwhile, a mortgage stays the same for 30 years, which is definitely not true. But I don't know the name of the guy behind the reel, but I'm pretty sure it's a realtor. And if we go into the comments, you'll see someone says, insurance and taxes adjust and can cripple people. Yeah, it is true. The insurance and taxes, they go extremely high, like the property tax that comes on the top of the land tax. And you have another comment that says, please don't spread lies. Your mortgage doesn't stay the same for 30 years. Yes, because you have to renew it. And whenever you renew it, the interest might go up.
What happened is that we purchased a home last December. We moved into it was our second home, so we had sold our first home and we were able to purchase the second home. It was a beautiful home. The price was higher, definitely higher than our first home, but it was something that was doable for us, and it was our dream home, and we thought that we were going to raise our children in this home, and we were going to have this home for a very long time. and the mortgage was 3832, which might seem high for some, but for us it was fine. Could do that. And so then in February, we received the new mortgage for the year, that had like the escrow and all that, and it showed that we had an escrow shortage of $23,000 because whenever they had calculated the mortgage and the property taxes whenever we had purchased the home, they calculated it for the land. They didn't take into account that a home was going to be on the land. So whenever they realized, oh, there's a home on the land, then it gave us an escrow shortage of that $23,000. So our mortgage went from $3832 to around $7,200 a month, $7,200 and change. So 3832, affordable. 7,200, no way we can do that. No way at all. Whenever somebody had mentioned how, a new home, they probably did calculate at land value, so it's probably going to go up. I was thinking, oh, maybe it'll go up $1,000, and I was prepared for that. Like, okay, we can do it. We can even though to me, like, that's expensive. Like a $4,800 mortgage is a lot for me, but I was like, we can do it, no problem. But to go to $7,200 a month, like, no, I live in Texas, and I could probably be living in a mansion or something close to a mansion paying $7,200 a month. Our home is not, or I could have two homes in Texas for that price. I could have two mortgages to pay $7,200 a month, even three homes. So that was just ridiculous to me.
So the lesson you can get from this type of experience is always make sure to know how much you're going to pay once the property tax arrives. Because she knew that it would arrive, but she didn't know how much it would be. She was expecting maybe a few $100s, but it just doubled. And it's like paying a mortgage for two houses. As she said earlier, she could get maybe three houses depending on the area. So yeah, always make sure to know the property taxes. So someone said a 23,000 tax shortfall would be paid off at $2,000 a month for a year. That's $5,800 for a new mortgage payment. How do you get $7,200? Something and adding up. Someone said shortage plus the increase of the year. Yep, it's a shortage. I think that there are sort of some penalties. We call them penalties here, but it's extra fees when you are on a shortage that you have to pay. There is another comment that says things are learned. 1, don't buy a new build because taxes could be a future mess. 2, buy less than you can afford. 3, buy a house you can sell without losing money, desirable home and value. And the creator said, yes, 100%, but less than we can afford. Another huge mistake on our part. Yeah, 3,800, they could have probably afforded it, but when it doubles, it's like you just bought another house without the benefits of it. You're just giving extra free money.
Raise your hand if you bought a house when the interest rates were low a few years ago, thinking, oh, this is like a little starter house and we'll just live in this for a couple of years. But then the interest rates are like over 6%, and now we're stuck in our not forever house. It's kind of looking like our forever house because I can't afford like a 6.75 interest rate on a mortgage. Like, what? Am I the only one? Are you stuck in your house too? Because this is wild. And we live in the Metroplex where houses are at minimum like $500,000-$600,000. So
at this point, I think that if you have a house, if you already own a house and you like it, stay in it, because it's the worst time to make these changes. If you go for a new property while you had a good mortgage, you're gonna take a huge risk. So someone said in the comments, boo-hoo, my interest rate first house was 13.5 and it went up 18. And another one answered, you paid $12 for your house. It's not the same. Yeah, I mean, if you go from 13% to 18% and the mortgage itself was let's say 1,000, you won't feel the increase that much. And if they bought it in the past, before the cost of living start going up, they would be able to manage it easily. So this is it. Thank you for staying until the end. Let me know if you have a mortgage. If it is the case, how much you paying. If you prefer investing in stocks or in a house, well, let me know all of that in the comments. I will make sure to answer as soon as I can. Take care and ciao.